every once in a while, I'll be writing an email that's important. I'm trying to open a door. I'm trying to get a meeting. And I'll write something, and then I stick it into my AI, who knows me really well, and I'll say, hey, will you refine this? This is what I'm trying to do. Give it just a gentle prompt, and then give him my words, and then it'll rewrite it. And the first time I did this, it came back with an email that was so beautifully written and so powerful, it actually made me feel incredibly vulnerable. And I'm like, I can't send this to the person. Like, that's too exposing. It's too revealing. It's too much, because we tend to write generic, safe, vague.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it's actually a really great email. And so I put it back in, sent it to the guy, and he responded immediately, said, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
What makes AI powerful isn't clever prompts, it's context. And context is what only humans bring. Story, values, conviction. As a financial wholesaler, that's the difference between an average sales meeting and a meeting that matters. In this episode, I sit down with executive coach Kirk Wayman to explore how to elevate the human side of wholesaling, leveraging AI, so every conversation with an advisor carries more weight, more clarity, and more impact. Welcome to the Financial Wholesaler Podcast, conversations about meetings that matter. All right, Kirk, great to have you back in the studio. Today, we're going to be talking about this incredible conversation and topic on AI. And I remember back when I was a youth pastor, I had this book on my shelf. This would be like 2005, so many, many years ago today. And it was called How to Survive a Robot Uprising. And I love this book because it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek book about what the future might look like when robots roam the earth. And one of the chapters was around AI. And when I look at it today, it's fascinating to think how accurate some of those predictions actually were. And then, of course, we all remember in 1984, well, maybe not all of us listening in, but those of us who are ex-gen and older, we remember the Terminator.
Yeah.
Right? And Arnold Schwarzenegger coming in from wherever in 2000 back to 1984. And there was this fascination with what would it look like if robots began to rule the world. And we know that's not the first movie, but here we are today, and we're now having the talks that people were writing kind of science fiction future books around. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I just want to ask you, like, from your perspective, what are you seeing today? Maybe some of the current most modern trends around AI, because I know it's just a hot topic. It's changing so quickly.
Yeah. So the thing I think you have to do first of all in this is think about the what we call AI today are really what's LLMs, large language models.
Yeah.
And most of us have had some experience with that. We're using them, we're engaging that in some way. And that is a very powerful tool that has very limited use, actually. You write or talk to it, it writes something back to you. So we're having that experience. But what's quickly coming upon us is a thing called an agent. And as a financial wholesaler, you may not be even thinking about agents yet, but they're built into your softwares. They're beginning to show up inside of enterprise level softwares, and it's time to become aware of what that is. But the thing that is interesting is we're going to be able to take agents and put them into robots, agentic thinking into robots, which is agents that can do work for you and have mobility. And Tesla's talking about their third gen robot called Optimus and what that's going to do. And when they're talking about that, it's always hard to, when Elon Musk gives us a deadline, you always got to go, I don't know if that's real.
Right.
But what is probably real is the project. And that robot is probably going to come in at a price point that is going to be affordable for the household to own and be able to replace many of the things that we're doing or we're paying to have done. It's hard to imagine that it's going to be economically viable for many, many families to have robots walking around their home doing things in the near future.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the near future means 2 years or 5 years, but I grew up in a world where robots existed in movies or Star Trek.
Exactly.
And to think that these things are on their way, people are actually working on producing them right now for mass production, and that I could buy one in 2 to 5 years. Like, I just can't quite wrap my head around that in reality.
Yeah.
So we need to know about the LLM, but really the leading trends right now are these things that are coming. and our inability to imagine the world that we're about to live.
Well, and I think that's a fascinating point that you're making. It's this idea that here we are upon a moment in time where it's within reach, and yet we can't imagine it.
Right.
So to have something feel like it's in reach and not be able to see it,
Right.
that feels a bit like a mystery. It feels a little uncomfortable. So it may be part of why some of us are having a hard time even still adopting or embracing it, because it's like, well, I can't see it. You know, what is your experience there?
There's a psychological principle at work here that we've experienced over time. You can experience this as an individual pretty easily, but we're having a mass experience of something. Everybody's having the same experience at the same time, which makes it even more confounding because we don't know how to imagine this future. And the principle is simply this: if you can't imagine something, it does not exist for you. It may exist in reality. In fact, it probably does. And someone who has experienced it can tell you about it. And that might begin to frame maybe a touch point to it. But if you try to explain something to someone and they have no capacity to imagine that could be true, it just goes into fantasy land. So if it doesn't exist for you, if you can't imagine it, it doesn't exist for you, then how do you prepare for it? How do you integrate it into your life? How do you get ready for something that's coming if you can't even imagine it?
Right.
And then collectively, most humans right now do not have an imagination for the world that we're currently building.
Sure.
And so it's just too easy to dismiss or push off or not engage.
So the financial wholesaler showing up into a room,
Yeah.
it's a one-on-one, or they're doing lunches, but it's the handshake.
Yeah.
It's the connection. It's really built around the human experience. In fact, we know with COVID, the loss of even meeting face-to-face took a toll because people got fed up with Zoom. And as soon as, the doors opened back up, I know from the wholesalers that we schedule for, they were like, no more Zoom meetings. I want in-person meetings only.
Yeah.
Because the level of connection to the advisor feels significant. So how do we integrate AI? What are some things that maybe we can be thinking about in the context of the financial wholesaler today that can be practical and really maybe elevate and leverage it so that we stay current and even ahead of the game rather than just ignoring it or falling behind?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things that I'll say is right now what most financial wholesalers need to do is engage in an LLM deeply.
When you say LLM, for those who are learning, give us some real specific.
So that stands for large language model, and that means things like Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, Grok. Those are all things that are readily available. In the last 2 years, they've gotten way, way, way more powerful. They make fewer mistakes. They still make mistakes. You still have to fact check things and be careful. But they're way better than they were when they first launched in 2022. So it's learning how to use those, and it's a skill. There's proficiency, and you just need reps at it. That's the key. The thing I will say is many of them are using softwares that are at enterprise level, high caliber softwares like Salesforce. And Salesforce and enterprise level companies have a deeper understanding of AI, and they're further along in the process, and they're integrating agentic thinking and agents that are ready to be used in their tools. And we don't have time to go into what all that means, but I would say start becoming a market leader in your company and engage those. Learn how they work. It takes time to figure it out, but it will create incredible efficiencies and improved workflows for you. But if you think just about say we're going to talk about ChatGPT, we'll just make that assumption. If you think about ChatGPT today, how can I use that to help me today? And one of the things that you can do is when you're set up for a sales meeting, you have an appointment and you want to have a meeting that is really rich and deep, something that matters. We know we do homework. We try to find out, who is this person I'm meeting with, especially if we've never met with them before. But if it is someone we met with last year, we can update that research. And it's a perfect use for an AI because you can do your research way faster and it can be way more complete. And what I mean by that is you simply go in and you ask your ChatGPT. You say, hey, I'm going to be meeting with this particular person. Can you go search the internet and find out everything they've posted about themselves and come back with a research dossier or a project or a file that gives me a breakdown of who they are, what they like, what kind of organizations they're involved in, where did they go on vacation last year? Because people are posting that stuff on all their social media pages. You go into you have it, go look at their LinkedIn page and extract their school, their education. There's all kinds of demographic profile information available that your AI will just go get and bring back. You can actually put right into the chat. You just prompt it and tell it what you want to do, and it will go do it. You can drop websites in and say, I want you to specifically look at this LinkedIn page, this Facebook page, this Instagram page, this website, this is where their bio is, all that kind of stuff. And you're going to come back in seconds with more research than you would be willing to do in hours.
Sure. And that's already something the best. If you talk to Darren Siedebaca or we talk to Mark Warren, those who rise to the top in sales as a financial wholesaler, they're doing that work already. They're just doing it a different way. Maybe it's more manual, or they're jumping on Google and searching. What you're saying is ChatGPT will do that exponentially faster.
That's right. That's right. Now, just to future cast a little bit.
And better.
And it's higher quality. It will be deeper. It'll go look in places you don't even know to look.
Right.
The other thing that you can sort of put into the future is you will be able to have an agent be doing that for you. And what you'll say is, here's my list of meetings next month. When I show up in the morning, I want full files of everything right in front of me. You don't even have to prompt it in the future. It'll just know based on.
No, it's interesting though you're talking about, because we onboarded a recent client, a larger client at our firm, Executive Scheduling Associates. And what was interesting is when they were doing their normal kind of getting to know us investigation evaluation, part of their inquiry, they attached a 12-page document that was an AI assessment of our company and our pros and cons and a competitive analysis and why we might be a strategic partner with them. Before we even really had a conversation, they found all of that on the web.
Accurate and useful? Like, it represent your company?
Very much so. In fact, we learned some things from it. We're like, oh, wow, this is great how the internet world sees us. You know, but it is a very strategic and effective tactic that you can utilize today.
Now, here's the key to this is the AI can go out and do all that research, but it can't build trust between you and the person you're going to go meet.
Right.
It doesn't do that. And so you have to embody the research. There is still very human work of consuming that research and knowing what in it is going to matter and what in it you have touch points on and all that kind of stuff. AI just don't build trust with people, right? Humans do that. And so this isn't replacing you. It's actually allowing you to do your job better, which is connecting with the advisor in a meaningful way. Now, the second thing, I think this leans into the second point, which is this idea of touch points. We don't want to interact with the sterile world of a computer. No, I mean, we're not there yet, and I don't know that we're going to be there yet. But what an AI can do is help you sound more like you, not sound like an AI. That's not the point. The point is to help you sound more like you, to help you actually become more human. And to do that, we got to talk about training your AI. When it comes out of the box, so to speak, when you first start using ChatGPT, it has a whole big, huge, massive education. It's super smart in so many ways, dumb in a couple ways too. But it knows a bunch of stuff, but it does not understand context. It doesn't know you and your context. And that's something you have to train it. Just using it does that. So the more you use it, the more it gets used to who you are. But one of the things that people, what I recommend people do is they actually create a file in their Google Drive or whatever equivalent they're using that has a series of PDFs and docs that are your work. So any of the, like if you do personality profile tools in your company, grab a copy of that, save it. If you've written a bio about yourself, put that in there. If add to it, add more detail to that. If you have your sales records over the sales reports over the last number of years, put that in there. If you've been on podcasts, get the transcripts, put that there. If you've written articles, put that there.
Sure.
And collect as much information about you as you can, stick it into one or multiple PDFs. That becomes, it's like a master prompt for the AI.
Yeah.
Then when you go in to do any work, you can drop that PDF into your AI and it will instantly know all this context around you and how you talk. It's very, very important that you train your AI about context, because then when you're using it to write emails, to write articles, any of the work you're using it to help you write things or create things, it has your voice.
Right.
And this is a really, really important feature to making AI work for you. Here's how I experience this, because I've been training mine for a long time and I have one of these and we work well together. And every once in a while, I'll be writing an email that's important. I'm trying to open a door. I'm trying to get a meeting. And I'll write something and then I stick it into my AI who knows me really well. And I'll say, hey, will you refine this? This is what I'm trying to do. Give it just a gentle prompt and then give him my words and then it'll rewrite it. And the first time I did this, it came back with an email that was so beautifully written and so powerful, it actually made me feel incredibly vulnerable. And I'm like, I can't send this to the person. Like, that's too exposing. It's too revealing. It's too much, because we tend to write generic, safe, vague.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it's actually a really great email. And so I put it back in, sent it to the guy, and he responded immediately, said, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, it kind of scared me a little bit, because what I realized is I had been actually writing what I thought was good emails, but they weren't vulnerable. They weren't open. They weren't revealing.
Sure.
And when I made actual powerful claims to value and said it I wasn't using my voice.
Yeah.
And it's AI. Training the AI has also trained me how to be more powerful in my own voice.
And you can ask it that question, right? Like, if you don't know how to start, I mean, clearly you know the basics. It's the ABC, the EFG. Put those in.
Yep.
You know, and you're talking about a master prompt.
Yep.
A couple things around that. First, you know, is if you don't know all the things, ask ChatGPT. Hey, I'm wanting to build a persona,
right,
and get clear on that, you know who I am. Write that in there and say, can you give me a list of questions that I would answer that would help you know how to best represent me? And all of a sudden, it's going to give you all the things it wants to know, and then you're just filling it out, and then you do it again over time. You're talking about building this over time, so it's evolving.
Yep.
And you're also talking about, if I heard you correctly, so you can, in ChatGPT and others, you can build out your persona within the context of that model that you're subscribing to.
That's right.
But I heard you say do it out in like a G Drive or maybe here's another directory.
And here's why.
Yeah.
When you build that inside of your GPT world, it's housed there. But you'll find that different LLMs, different tools are better at different things.
Sure.
Or they keep changing, or one gets better and then the next one, you know, they're playing leapfrog with each other. I'm currently have like 6 of them. And I realized that every time I go to engage with a new AI, I had to retrain it. And that took time to collect all those docs and give it all that information. But if I've got them in PDFs on my G Drive, I take one file, I drop it in, and it knows me like that.
Yeah.
So I can bring a new AI up to speed way faster than I was able to in the past because of this master prompt idea.
Yeah. So essentially, you're talking about a master prompt being kind of an evolving directory or a file directory of the things you think you want maybe it to know about you.
Mine right now is about I don't remember off the top of my head. It's 600 or 700 pages long.
Wow.
Because I have transcripts of multiple podcasts I've been in there, and I just give it all to it. And it learns my voice. I have videos I've made. I have those transcripts in there. I have all the company documents, mission, vision, purpose, goals. What I say to people is give it everything and then back off from that based on security and regulation. But the goal is to give it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I know that there are regulations and security issues and companies have restrictions. So yes, that all matters. But I give it all my financial reports, all my everything. It's just everything.
Yeah.
Because the more it knows about me, the better. So I want you to think about having a really, really high caliber assistant who sits outside your desk, right? And they're out there and their job is to represent you in the world, do all this work for you. Are you going to hold back information from that person? Well, some, fair enough. But the longer they serve you, the longer you work with them, pretty soon they know everything.
Yeah.
Right? They've met your kids. They've been in your home. They've done this. They're just involved in everything. They have your checkbook. They're spending your money. Well, checkbook, who has those anymore? Their credit cards. That person gets integrated into your life.
Right.
It's a relationship kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, another interesting point here that is, I think, important for, a listener to pick up, financial wholesaler to pick up is you can ask it.
Okay, yeah.
So, right, you can ask it how to do something or how to use it even, and
Here's what we say. It said AIs are software, but it's the first software that we've ever created where it will train you how to use it. That has never been true before. And in the past, you had to go to a human, go to a class, go to YouTube, figure out some human would train you. How do I get this thing to do what I want it to do? Now we say, if you're asking a human how to use an AI, that's fine, but it's pretty inefficient.
Right.
Just ask it. There's another side to this training the AI. One, you want to train it about you, but I think it's incredibly important to also build an avatar, a client avatar. You probably have maybe 4 or 5 known types of advisors,
Right.
that you serve, and then they have these attributes and those attributes. They think this way. They're motivated by this. This is what causes them pain.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. If you build 4 or 5 of those profiles that you can train the AI to say, these are typical examples of the people that I connect with. Then when you're writing emails or you're doing work or you're trying to write something, articles, you're creating videos, you're doing whatever it is you're doing, it knows you and you can select who it's talking to.
Yeah.
And you can do this inside of projects in ChatGPT. You can make custom GPTs that do this. It's all built right into the software. But it's really helpful then to be able to take, let's say you have a marketing tool that you want to use, and you can send it over to this custom GPT, and you can start to have a conversation with it, and you can find out what its objections might be. Or say you're trying to workshop a script or a sales protocol to see if it'll open doors. You can actually go talk to an AI that will talk in the voice of the person you're trying to work with, and you can role play with it. And you can workshop your presentations that way.
Yeah.
A version of this that I really like is the tech editor for New York Times took all the negative comments. When he posts something online, he gets all these negative comments. He took those, used them to train an AI so that when he now writes something, he has his haters critique it before he ever publishes it. And sometimes they just hate it because they just hate it. But sometimes he says they point out major flaws in his argument or in his thinking. It's a helpful critique. And so now when he publishes something, what the world doesn't know is I've already heard it all.
Sure.
But it's an example of this where you can actually workshop with a persona. And in this case, it would be a financial advisor, and it'll help you prepare. It'll make your presentations better. It'll point out flaws in your thinking.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
That's a really good way to use it.
That's how you become a better human and have higher touch points and actually let AI help you build trust.
Right.
Which brings us to our third point, which is I think AI is in some ways going to replace work humans are doing. We've covered that earlier, and I think that's going to happen. Now, there's a great fear in the world that what that's going to mean is humans will become useless or unnecessary. And then what do we do? I don't think that's what's going to happen because we've been through this before. If you go back to 1870, somewhere between 70 to 90% of all humans were farmers. By 1950, it was 12%. Today, it's 3%. And we still have food. Some of what we're making probably isn't food.
That's right.
But we have food, but our workforce has completely migrated. We found a whole set of new things to do. But if you go back and you found somebody in the 1870s, and you got them into our world today, dropped them into one of our cities and let them walk around and watch, they would have no idea what's going on. And I think it would appear as though they would look at us and say, they're not even working. They're just playing. They're literally just made up things to do that they now call work because they don't have to chop wood anymore and milk cows and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's probably true. We've just made up new things that we do called work, like podcasting.
Right.
Come on, 1870s? It's chop wood or die.
Right.
I think in the future, the same thing is going to happen. We are going to create all kinds of new things to do, but in the process, I think we're going to actually figure out what it means to be human. What are we actually made for? As we turn over more and more of the mundane and repetitive tasks to AIs and robots, it's going to free us to answer a whole set of new questions. And right now, what that means for the financial wholesaler is we should be using AI to do the repetitive tasks, to take our meeting notes, to summarize those notes. We should be, if possible, recording all of our conversations with the financial advisors because it will feed back to us the things that matters. Those go into their file. This is going to free us to be more human. And I think the financial wholesaler that is seeking meetings that really, really matter is seeking more human meetings.
Right.
And this is where AI is really going to create leverage. It allows you to show up in your own voice more powerfully, connect with a person more powerfully, and you let AI handle everything else. And so as you're thinking about what am I trying to accomplish with AI, we don't quite know yet what this means, but what you're trying to accomplish is higher trust, better context, the ability to connect with someone in a more meaningful way, as you're not worried about a whole bunch of repetitive and mundane tasks. They're now happening for you.
Well, hey, Kirk, thank you so much. Great conversation. I have a sense that we just barely scratched the surface. I know we'll be doing another episode on AI,
For sure.
specifically on how we can give practical insights and uses for the financial wholesaler. So thanks again. Appreciate you being here.
Pleasure.
The Financial Wholesaler podcast is sponsored by Executive Scheduling Associates. If you're looking for appointment setting services, visit our website at esasolutions.com.